Welcome to Don't Pick the Scab podcast, a podcast that provides tools, tips, and tricks for men over 40 recovering from divorce. Welcome, Dr. Robb Kelly, to the show. His superpower is his expertise in neuroscience, trauma recovery, addictions, and mental health. Those are definitely in my men's wheelhouse. Welcome to the Don't Pick the Scab podcast with the premise of connecting men over 40 with the tools and community to thrive in their divorce recovery either before, during, or after a divorce. So introduce yourself, Doc, and I got some questions for you.
Hey guys, my name is Dr. Robb Kelly. I'm over in San Antonio, Texas, enjoying life and helping people. I have 5 practices around the world. I have 4 businesses. I went through 2 divorces and survived them and decided to go help people that are struggling, whether that be after divorce or addiction or depression, whatever it is. And we studied and studied and studied. We have a 98% success rate, which is unheard of in the industry, and we're the only company that offer money back guarantee if what we said doesn't come true. So great to see you guys.
Wow. Dr. Robb, your personal journey is incredibly inspiring. Can you share how your experiences with addiction, trauma, and homelessness shaped your mission to help others heal?
I grew up on the projects of Section 8 housing, very poor, very lots of love in the house, as they say, but very poor. Couldn't really go on trips. When we went on vacation, it was to the local seaside. It was loving, but it was rough. I grew up on the project, so you either fight or you get beat up, and I was not going to get beat up. So become a proficient fighter in the early days. Played guitar with my aunt and uncle on stage, bass guitar. Took my first drink at 9. And then just went to a normal school. Nothing really happened. Drinking Friday, Saturday, Sunday through 16, 20s. I have what's called the addictive personality, guys, which basically means I'm either going to do something or I'm not. So I'm either pregnant or I'm not. There's no middle road for me, and millions of guys like me. And when you do make your mind do something, the mind is unbelievable. We'll go into that shortly. But yeah, I went to school, went to college. The only person in my entire family ever to go to college. I got my degree and then joined the police force. They fired me for being drunk every day. Got married, had 2 children. The wife left, the children were taken off me by the authorities. And the last thing my daughter said to me was, "Daddy, please stop drinking." That was 34 years ago. And yeah, it was just been a rough ride. And then after, I stabbed my wife 3 times one night, by the way, guys, because she wouldn't let me finish my bottle of vodka. That's how insane I was. But it seems like a blink of an eye, everything was gone. Nobody would talk to me. And I became homeless. I was on the streets for the first time in my life. And I sat there in the rain and the cold. And I just thought to myself, where the hell did that go wrong? Everything was taken away from me. And I'm the guy with the house on the hill. My business is amazing. We're doing fantastic. And then from my drinking, everything come tumbling down and was broken. And I didn't see my daughter for 30 years. And 4 years ago, she contacted me on Messenger and she said, "I've seen you on TV. I want to see you. I've got something to show you. I don't believe what they were telling me." So within 2 hours, we're on a plane back to England.
Wow.
We get there, she opened the door, we hugged, we cried, and then she took me by my hand and walked me into her living room, and she handed me my 3-month-old granddaughter.
There you go. Dang. So many men feel like divorce is a rock bottom moment. How did your spiritual awakening on the streets of Manchester help you turn your darkest moments into a catalyst for transformation?
I always wanted to control my life. So I was always an atheist because I got molested when I was young by the priest. But it's about, here's the key to life, man. Stop giving a crap what people think about you and let go. You're at a crossroads. I like people at crossroads because it's a new direction to take. But yeah, my spiritual awakening was middle of Manchester, nobody around, dropped down to my hands and knees. I said, if there's a God up there, I can't do this on my own anymore. Guy went around the corner in the middle of nowhere, David, nowhere. And said, "Come back to the house, you can stay there." And I went to an AA meeting with him the next day, met a guy called John, who I used to walk around to every single Wednesday. So I left Derek's at 6, got there for 7. He's walked me out at 8, and I got back for 9 for 12 weeks. And he taught me everything I know today. And he said my life will change from tomorrow. And I'm like, John, I'm in Derek's basement on a blow-up mattress. I don't think anybody knows I'm here. But the very next day it did. Derek came home and said there's a job sweeping the floor. I did that. I got my first pay packet. Life started doing good. I started working with people. They were getting well. So I bought John a little teddy bear and a card. And I wrote the card nicely out, and I went back to his house, and he wasn't there. The apartment. The next door neighbor came out when I was knocking really hard and says, "Can I help you?" I said, "What's John moved to?" She said, "John who?" I said, "Your next door neighbor." She said, "I've only been here for 2 months. I've not seen anybody." So I went around to the left-hand side and knocked on the door a bit harder, and this big guy come to the door. "What do you want?" "Where's John relocated to?" "John who?" "What's wrong with you guys?" He went on to tell me that apartment was derelict. They used to have tape all over, because if you did walk in the front door, you could fall down to the basement and probably kill yourself. So I thought he was crazy. Went back to the meeting I'd met John in and said to the chairman, he went, "Oh, Robert, great to see you." I'm like, "Yeah, thank goodness you recognize me." "Does John still coming?" And he said, "John who?" And he said, "The guy over there was talking to at the coffee machine." And he said, and I quote, "We thought you were praying because you were talking to yourself. We've never found that man."
Wow.
Yeah. And when I became wealthy, I put the best private detective team in Manchester on the case, and they could never trace or find it.
Wow. What a
So I went
story.
to America, and you were supposed to be here.
And you never seen him since.
Never seen him since, never, nothing. But this is what happened, David. Over the last 20 years I've been here, so many things have happened, so many miracles have happened. I was supposed to die of cancer, the cancer disappeared. They overdosed me in the hospital, they brought me back to life. All this stuff crazy that's happened since I've been here can only mean one thing. And that is, he took me through all of that so I could help people. And that's the foundation of not only this, but the other 4 businesses I own. How can we help? What can I do? Because I want to be your Derek. I want to be your John out there. And guys, whatever you're going through following divorce and stuff like that, you can get through. I'm going to go through this today, guys. I've got the experience and the stories, and we're going to get through this. Don't worry.
Wow. You've worked with celebrities, professionals, and everyday people. What across the board universal truths about resilience and recovery have you learned through these experiences? What is the same basic things?
Non-belief. That's it. They don't think they're capable. They don't think they're worth. Even rock stars and A-list movie stars, when they come off stage or come off the film, they've got nothing. They're undervalued. They've never been validated for what's happened to them as a child or approved. That's the basic thing. And of course, spans all from that. The divorce, the death of a child, all that stuff comes to a head, and everything closes down in the brain.
Wow. Divorce often feels like a loss of identity. How can your story of overcoming incredible odds inspire men going through their own struggles?
When I came out of my first marriage, because she left me and changed all the locks, what happens when you come out of marriages, guys, is this. You lose your identity. And I'm saying that after 20, 10, 5 years with somebody, you get a kind of a joint. The women that suffer a little bit more, because it's usually the guy's football team, the guy's TV programs. So loss of identity is the worst thing that a human being can go through. If you don't know who you don't know where you're going. So it's all the trauma around that. We have to realize that a divorce is a traumatic event. And some are sensitive than others to it. But there's certain parts of the brain that are affected by this. And you have the crossroads again. You have to start finding your identity, whether the divorce was your fault or hers or both of you. It's de minimis. First of all, number one things, look after the kids. And secondly, who are you and what do you want to do? How do we do it? And that's the crossroads I was at. A couple of things I do now that set me for life. Number one, I stopped caring what people think. I mean, I really have. And it set me free completely. And the second that somebody told me once is you can be anybody you want to be. And you can have a life, anything you want to be. And if you want to get your children back, you can get them back. There's work to do. There's a format to follow. But it's all there waiting for you. You cannot live in the past. to define your future. You can't do it. You're gonna come to a stagnant place where all these depression and everything, suicide is going to kick in. So we have to clear that and realize and go through that, as painful as it may be, before it releases you and you can head to the past. That's the future, sorry.
Cool. So your work focuses on neuroscience-based approaches like brain spotting. Can you explain how these techniques can help men recover from the emotional trauma of divorce?
Brain spotting is a direct link from the pupil into the subconscious brain. So most of the stuff, the bad stuff in our lives, sit in the subconscious brain. So everything we touch, hear, feel from birth is stored there. There are billions and billions of images and memories in the subconscious brain. The subconscious brain wakes us up every morning. That's the bad guy. The reason why it wakes us up is lack of oxygen. So when a normal circadian sleep pattern between 2 and 5 is when the body is at its lowest, pertaining to healing and oxygen. So we wake up with a subconscious brain. We need to change that to the conscious with our breath work that we do. Otherwise, we'll always be stuck. So these tools are basically uncover, discover, discard of the trauma, whether that be divorce or similar things, and then go back and start the healing. You have to heal. No, I don't know anybody that's come out of a divorce that's just, oh, everything's okay, I'm going to move on. Nobody. Because the time you spend as partners, you become a couple. You become, oh, Jenny and Bill, and all of a sudden it's Bill and there's no Jenny, and you have to find. So the tools redefine who you are, reprogram neural pathways, change the subconscious brain and the basal ganglia, which is our repetition, strength, and confirms. With men that are divorced, the bad memories, they're fighting with the kids, goes back, who's in the house, who's she sleeping with? You've got to get rid of that, man. You've got to change pathways around that and change your ideal ID and identity and your ideal future. Because we could sit here, David, for the next 3 days and I could explain how the mind works and we still wouldn't have enough time. And everybody would be going, oh my God, it's so powerful. You ever heard the saying mind over matter? This is what happens. The mind is energy. You can't see it, touch it, feel it, but it programs the brain. Mind over, brain is matter. So imagine if we could program this guy first thing in the morning to go out and start making things happen to us. We can. And it's not that hard. So concentrate on the future. If there's kids involved, now, this is one thing that I always stuck to, David. Every Christmas and birthday, I sent my mom, because she wouldn't let me send them to her, I sent my mom birthday cards, Christmas cards, toys, fluffy toys to my daughters every year. And I did that for, I don't know, 20, I don't know how long it was. I did that, not knowing that probably never going to get to the kids, but I did that. A couple of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, my mum and dad passed away. So my daughter and my sister was in the house cleaning it up back in England. My daughter came across, because we just started to get in contact, came across a huge box in the corner, and she opened it, and there was every single Christmas present, every single card. And guys, you have to do that. Even if the children don't see it, you have to do this, because one day they're going to come back. One day they're going to realize that life goes on, and every children needs a dad, and every children needs a mom. So do that, guys. It's the biggest thing I ever did. It's one of the reasons Charlie got in contact with me.
Trauma and PTSD are common after divorce, especially for men over 40 who have unresolved childhood wounds you talked about before. How can you address these deeper issues in your work? Or how do you address these deeper issues in your work?
I think the trauma is the gateway drug. Everybody suffers from childhood trauma. You might not know it today, but your actions and your relationships and your work and your confidence affect what happened as a child. So what we have to do is we have to go back to the past with somebody who knows what they're doing. You need to uncover what the trauma is. There are probably hundreds, if not, 20, 30. Discover what they're about and what happened to you as a result, and discard of them trauma memories as quick as possible. So by doing them 3 things using therapy, you can't do it on your own. The tools I mentioned, we slowly but surely break them bad memories up around that. Because if you're angry, if you're jealous, if you're upset, depressed around the divorce, all that can be fixed. All of it can be fixed by following the tools and stuff. Now, the other thing as well as childhood, that this affects relationships. If I was molested by my priest, my mother and father never validated me for that. They pushed it under the carpet. I got hit with a wooden shoe across my backside saying, don't you ever speak about the priest like that. I was never approved and I was never validated for that act. When men come to me who are going through divorces and loss of jobs and stuff like that, is the key to break somebody free.
Validation.
Especially when you come out, you feel less than, you're not a great dad, you're a terrible husband, you might be angry, you might be fighting. At the end of the day, you need to address this.
You validate and say, hey, I understand you feel that way.
Yeah, I wasn't told. Loads of women come to me with divorces and stuff like that. And I ask them, and most people say I was molested as a child. And I said, who validated that? Do your parents, hug you around and validate? No. Well, was you approved that even happened? No. And that's where it lies, because that affects today. So what happens here today as an act, you will not be able to spot this as a childhood trauma because we think this is normal. Childhood trauma comes from what we think is normal. And then the action here many years on, it doesn't seem the same, but it is. If you're struggling with life, if you've just been divorced, if it's killing you, nowhere to go, you feel less than, you don't know what to do, it can all repair with the right work. You can be a free man. And then if you have children, you can go on to show the world what you're capable of doing. There's been thousands, I don't know, I'm 9,500 patients in, and millions with my TV that I've touched and helped.
Wow. What role does self-compassion play in healing from both addiction and divorce? How can men develop the skill? Because men suck at self-compassion.
They do. The first port of call is internal dialogue. That's where it starts. And my internal dialogue, I spoke in California, there was 1,000 people. Exactly 1,000 because they clicked them in for fire reasons. 999 persons said it was great. One person said it wasn't. So my self-talk took over that with one person. That's what destroyed me for the next 3 months. I couldn't stop thinking about it.
One person?
One person, man. That's called the addicted person, not the 999. And people will resonate with this who are listening and watching this. If you drop a pen on the floor, guys, you're not a stupid idiot. Oh, you idiot. No, stop that. Stop that, because that's what you believe. And if you believe that attaches to the basal ganglia, which is our repetition, and that becomes a working part of the mind. And you will never recover from that while you're speaking. We speak to ourselves, we won't even speak to our worst enemy like that. But yet, because it's us. So watch your internal dialogue, watch what you say to yourself, and be kind to yourself, man. It's horrible what's happened, but it's not the end of the world. Life goes on after divorce, life goes on after addiction, and we get to live 2 lives in one lifetime, guys. The first life that we've messed up, and the second life, whether you believe in God, Uncle Jimmy, universe, whatever it is, when my mind connects with another power outside me and my neural pathways, which will give you some stuff to do at the end of the podcast that will change your life, your DNA changes. You're not the same person as you was. Now, whether that divorce goes back, I've seen multiple occasions where the wife wants the husband back, but the husband doesn't want to go back because he's done his own healing. So he doesn't repeat. You can never go back and repeat a situation without work being done around it, because if you do the same thing, the same results will happen.
Correct. Wow. You said that addiction is often a symptom of a deeper pain. How can men identify and address the root causes of their emotional struggles during divorce recovery?
It's back to that childhood trauma and clearing up. We have to clear up, not the present. By doing this, you can live in the present. Most people who have not done the trauma work live either from yesterday or live tomorrow. So the anxiety comes from what's happening tomorrow, and the depression comes from what happened yesterday. It's the here and now. That's all we have, is the here and now. What can I do today to be the best person? How many people can I compliment? How many interviews do I get to get this brand new job? How many times can I see the kids a week? It's all based around that. You have to get up and dust yourself off. And I know it took me years for me to do that, but because of my experience, it might take you months, but that's what we need to do. Otherwise, we just live like we lived before, and if nothing changes.
What about co-parenting? That's one of my big ones. A lot of men struggle with that. We talked about earlier on the pre-interview, we were talking about my men who have a hard time not being able to control what happens at mom's house. How do you speak to these guys?
Co-parenting can be amazing. So the research we've done on this with children growing up is when a child grows up in a house that's dysfunctional, where mum and dad are arguing and fighting all the time, they suffer with education and behavioral when they leave the house. When two happy parents are separated or divorced, the children do absolutely amazing. So the two parenting, this is about sitting down with the woman that you hate from what's happened. It's not about you guys. And what I mean by that is when there's children involved, you never say to your children, oh, mom was an idiot, you never go down that path. You talk to the wife or ex-wife and that she realizes you're changed. Don't go in like you used to do, start arguments, just be real calm about it. This is not about you, it's about the children. And they will thank you and you will see beautiful actions from the children. And the guys that are separated or divorced who have no contact with the children, either because mum is keeping you away, fight for them children. Fight with everything you have for them children, because a one-sided story is not worth anything. You fight and you fight in the nicest kind of possible way. You never give up with your children, because that is what it's about. It's about the children, not about you. And it's painful and it's hard and it's horrible. And, it's okay for you, Dr. You've done. No, guys, the pain is immense. You know, when the police came and the authorities took my children off me, I'd been there 2 days. I'd been drunk for 2 days. The children had been fed or changed diapers for 2 days, and the police kicked the door down. My daughter, who was 3 years old, they picked the baby up, daughter 3 years old, walking down the path with mummy. She said 3 things to me. Daddy, please don't go. I'm walking down the path, the authorities are there, police are there. Daddy, please get better. And the last thing she said to me before they opened the gate, before she went, was, Daddy, please stop drinking. And I couldn't do it. And shortly after I became homeless. But I fought for them kids, man. I fought for them. And the co-parenting is amazing, and the never giving up is amazing. But you can change your life, right? When you come out of a divorce, you're at a crossroads. Everybody's at a crossroads because the normal life as it is has been taken away. You can't wipe 20 years of your life and be okay with it. It doesn't happen like that. 5 years, 10 years, 2 years. You've got to realize that you're at a crossroad and we've got a new route now. Got a new route. And by talking to the ex-wife, by doing a little bit of work on yourself, by trying to realize and understand that you can, again, do anything you want to be as powerful as you want for the children or even for the ex-wife, but we're doing it for us. Because if you keep thinking, oh, she's got a new guy, what's she telling the children? That if you will go insane, you will go, the only person that's going to suffer from that, do you think the wife is? No. Do you think the guy is? No. Is you'll drive yourself insane with that.
It's almost 2 things. You never stay for the kids.
No.
And then the other one is you're supposed to love your kids more than you hate your ex.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
That's a tough one. What about the thing of self-care? Men don't take care of themselves. They want to be the hunter-gatherer. They want to take care of everybody else first. And like when the plane goes down, the oxygen masks come out, you put yours on first, not your kids. Let's address that. How can we get men to figure out to take care of themselves first so they can take care of everybody else?
You've got to look at yourself, look at the source, look at what you're going through, how you look, how you feel, and we start bettering ourselves with self-care. So we have what's called Self-Care Friday here, where I send all the staff and all the patients out for that day with my credit card, and they go for hairs, nails, whatever it is. Guys, we have to do this. Oh, don't be so hard on yourself, people say. So you've got to have self-care, and whatever that looks like, whether that's down the pub with your friends, down the bar, having a few drinks on a Friday, whether that's going to the gym or sauna or massage, you have to do that. Because when we come out of a divorce, we stop loving us. I never loved myself. I couldn't even, I had no mirrors, David, in my house because I couldn't bear to look at myself. So self-care is important. If you have a friend, dialogue is amazing, guys. But you have to have that day, that hour, that half day. You have to make it happen as if your life depended on it. Because as long as you're treating yourself like crap, other people are going to treat you like crap. And here's the deal, guys. we did experiments of how people around us can change and control your behavior. So if you're hanging around the same old guys that you did when you divorced and they're unknown, stuff like that, then you're never going to get well. You're going to get depressed. But if you hang around the new people who's got new targets, so we brought 9 actors into the waiting room out there, and 1 patient who we'd brought in to do some work with free of charge. But she didn't know about the 9 actors. And the idea was, how can we get these 9 people to change this one person to show me your friends, I'll show you your future kind of thing. So they're all sat down and everyone's on the phone. The idea is every 45 seconds, a buzzer. And all the 9 people actors stood up. After about 5 seconds, they sat down. Everyone stood up. Now she's raised her head up away from the phone. She's probably what's going on. On the third, she stood up with everybody else. Now that is it. That is crazy. Here's the craziest part. As we call the actors in one by one as if they were patients, she was the only person left in the waiting room. She stood up.
With nobody else in the room.
Nobody else in the room. So if you're hanging around the same old people when you went through your divorce or after, you're not going to get affected. You're going to get affected by the depression. Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. Oh, my. And then friends go away and she keeps friends, you keep friends. You've got to hang around the guys you want to be. You've got to hang around like-minded people who are positive. Do not hang around people that divorce. Oh, God. Oh, I wish you'd come back. It's done. Stand up, be counted, hang around positive guys and move on. Change the way you think about life. Change the way you think about yourself. Always.
Wow. This was a big one for me. God, all I can see is a buzzer and people standing up. Anyway, this was a big one for me. For men who are still angry or resentful toward their ex-spouse, how can they process these emotions in a healthy way and move forward? That was a hard one for me.
Yeah. First of all, you need some kind of help of somebody, best friend, therapist, whatever it is, psychologist. And you have to be honest with them. And you have to go in and talk about the things that you don't want to talk about, guys. You just don't want to talk about. Resentments, I heard years ago, was like me drinking poison and expecting you to die.
Yeah, definitely.
Only affects me. I thought everybody's hurting because, no, it affects me. As long as you're carrying resentments, you'll die a miserable person. As long as you're carrying resentments, you'll be angry for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Go and see somebody, get rid of them, and make sure you break yourself free. Because I'm telling you guys from years of experience, not only with patients, but myself, if you follow, and especially the things we're going to tell you just before we finish, I'm going to give you some work to do. If you follow a great therapist, not just that's been through what you've been through, that's the key. Whether that be a coach, therapist, a friend, they have to have been through what you've been through, because thought patterns and self-sabotage around the occasion, they won't be able to understand. Talk it out. You can get well 100%.
Question real quick. I've always thought, can a divorced therapist be a good therapist if they haven't been divorced? You have opened up a new can of worms for me, Rob.
Yeah, it's true. We always tell people, if you've not been through addiction, you don't know how I think. If you haven't been through the thing, I went to a therapist once, which we tried 3, 2 of them failed. Are you alcoholic addict? No.
Yeah.
Thank you, we can't help you. Oh, I've got 10 years masters of addiction. I don't care. Because if you have a bottle of vodka behind your back and you won't give it to me, you are in your worst nightmares will not know what I will do to you to get that drink. You will not know the loneliness that I go to after a divorce. I'm a big person on seek the people out who's been through it, because the experience trumps a college degree in anything. Now you go with depression, or great therapists, coaches, amazing, psychologists, great, but they have to have gone through it, because it's not here, guys. It's here. And if you don't understand how I'm trying to kill myself, how the subconscious brain is trying to kill me and make it look like an accident, if you don't understand them thought patterns, you can't help. It's like me being trapped in Germany somewhere in a car. I have no idea where I'm going, but I'm going to John Street, okay? But the first person I'll come, can you tell me where John Street is? I've never been there, but I think if you go up there and turn right, it might be left, and then you go further, you're never going to get to John Street. I go to the next guy. Can you tell me where John Street? Yeah, I used to live there. This is exactly how you get there. That's the difference between both of them.
Wow. I've never heard it put that way because I've always wondered.
Yeah, it's just true. The thought, again, it's the subconscious brain trying to kill you with all this crap in the past you've been through.
Mhm.
Okay, that's it. And if you don't understand that, if your therapist, well, first of all, you've been with your therapist for more than a year, what the hell are they doing? Because it's a quick fix for most people. When I say quick fix, it's 3 to 6 months, and you're done and out. But yeah, you have to have done that. It's a golden rule here.
Wow. So one of my last questions before we get to the work, if you could give one piece of advice to men over 40 navigating divorce recovery, what would it be?
You don't know how powerful you are. That's it. You don't know how powerful you are. Mine is what you're capable of doing. This is how the world works. God, Uncle Jimmy, universe. It takes us through situations that are heartbreaking and horrible. And you are taken through them situations so that you can go on, get strong and recover and help other people. That's why we go through it. And I'm convinced after 35 years or something, I'm not good with time, that I've been doing this. It's not about us. It's all about if you are one, if you've got divorced and you're with your kid and the wife's left you, and it's a crossroads. This is where you start, man. And I'm going to give you some work in a second that I want you to do tomorrow morning, guys. And then if it doesn't work, come and get hold of me. I'll send you a free book or something because it's never not work because it's changing things, physiology and brain-wise, mind, nervous system. It changes all that in about 5 minutes.
Give us that work, Doc. Give us that work. Give it to us.
The presence of the breath work is the lack of disease. So every disease in the body starts in a hypoxic area of the body. We only breathe 45 to 50% of our lung capacity. So hypoxic areas are disaster areas in my body. It's the reason why nobody's woke up laughing. It's that lack of oxygen. Here we go. Remember this guy, the subconscious brain that wakes us up? This guy wakes us up. That's the guy, oh, it's going to be a bad day. Oh, how do we get rid of that? Do your 20 exaggerated breaths in and out like that 20 times. You're going to go dizzy. Hold on or sit down, okay? This is what we found. Subconscious brain hates oxygen. Boom. Conscious brain loves oxygen. We activate the conscious brain by doing that. Oxygen to different parts of the body that's probably never had full oxygen to. The conscious brain's in. This is the guy that's going to change the world, okay? The only problem with this is the next morning, have a guess who wakes us up? Hypoxic fella here wakes us up. After you do that, go into the bathroom. If you brush your teeth with your right, let's change some patterns and neural pathways around in your head from self-sabotage to changing for good. It's simple, man. If you're right-handed, brush your teeth with the right hand for a week, left hand for a week, right hand for a week, and left. Just a month. That's all you need to do. And thirdly, and most importantly, the subconscious brain has all the bad stuff about us. I want you to step 6 feet away from the mirror and just look at yourself, as silly as it may sound, and just say, I love you, 10 times. I love you out loud. I love you. Do not stand near the mirror. So this is what happens when women are putting makeup on or guys are shaving. You see all the blemishes on my face, or on my own face when I'm looking at myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how people see us, but we think that's how people see us because it's a mirror. It shows, no, when's the last time you went in work? Hey, guy, nice to see you. We don't do that. So when you stand 6 feet away, your blemishes disappear. It will give you confidence. It will give a new outlook on who you are. You are 30% more good looking than you think you are. You are at least 35% more educated and have that brilliant mind than you think you are. We go out there to the world thinking we're not capable of anything. Then we get less than. Then we get the imposter syndrome, all that going. And you need to get up and start this work, man, straight away. And don't question it. Just do it as part of your work. Don't miss a day because you have to start from day one again. You will watch your confidence and you will watch the brain at its best, full of oxygen. And repeat that breath work during the day. And you will see a difference, man. It's so simple, but it's so effective.
Wow. That is deep. How can the people out there find you, Dr. Robb?
Or if you're listening, not watching, guys, I spell my name with two. ROBKELLY.com website. Just put Dr. Robb Kelly in any search engine and all the stuff will come. There's also the Robb Kelly Foundation. All platforms, remember. But because this show is so amazing, the book that I wrote That's me wasted completely going on a visit to my daughter who thinks everything's okay and I can't even walk properly in there. So this book is Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. The last thing my daughter said to me. By the way, when she contacted me 4 years ago, we sent her back to school. She's now my lead therapist in my Manchester, UK office. I'll send you this. I'll sign it. I'll send free of charge. I'll pay the shipping. I'll do all that stuff. All I need somewhere on the social medias is your name, mention this show and your address, and we will mail it within the hour.
All right.
Just because David's amazing.
Dr. Robb, this has been special, man. We're going to do this again because I got some more. This was fun. So let's go ahead. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And we appreciate Dr. Robb for spending time with us and giving us his superpower. Editing this podcast is going to be interesting. Very interesting. But everybody out there, have a good night.